I'd like to begin this video by talking about the day I turned 18. Now, as of the time we're recording this video, it's July 24th, and I turned 18 on July 10th, so it's been about 2 weeks, I'd say. And what's interesting about turning 18 was that going into it, I didn't expect to feel any specific way. I thought it'd be just like any other day, or maybe any other birthday at least. But what I found, okay, first of all, this is a crazy village, 2 blacksmiths. What I found was actually a sort of like nostalgia. It was this painful kind of melancholy that suddenly I was an adult. You know, all these like memories started to flood to mind. Like, for example, my family, my dad's side of the family, has this cabin in Wyoming. And when I was a kid, me and all of the cousins and grandparents and everything would go and visit the cabin at least once a summer. And those were some of my favorite memories growing up as a kid. We would ride four-wheelers up through the mountains and play in the river and catch fish in the lake. And it was always an incredible memory. It was always an incredible experience whenever it got to happen. And something about that sort of changed as I got older. And I didn't realize the change really. I didn't notice how much different it was from when I was a kid until I turned 18. I started looking back on basically my entire life in retrospect. I think that's something you tend to do with the big milestones in life. But I started to realize, like, I was an adult in that moment, you know, turning 18. It was as if a chapter of my life was over. Even though my entire life up to that point I was a kid, and even though one day separated me from an adult, and nothing had changed in the face of it, like, that chapter, that moment, signified something. I've always found it weird, even before my birthday, that you were a child your entire life up until the age of 18, and then you were an adult for the rest of your life until you die. It seems in a way like there are only 2 stages, you know, like, I guess legally or like societally, of a human being's development. And it was like all of that, all of those experiences with the cabin, with my family, like they were a different life, a different person suddenly. What was especially weird was that right after my birthday, we visited the cabin again. My brothers didn't come because they had work to go to, and my father has been out of the picture for a while. I guess the most accurate thing to say is that, you know, no one has contact with him, or no one knows where he is, or he sort of like abandoned his responsibilities and, you know, ran away from his family. And so I was up there sort of alone. You know, I had my extended family, and I guess in a way, you know, that was something, but I haven't really known them very well. It seemed like everything going on in my own family with, you know, my parents and my brothers when I was younger kind of split us up from my dad's side of the family, and especially so once he left, and it seemed like they didn't reach out to us very much, but I was up there alone, and it was interesting. One night we were all sitting around the campfire, and the subject of my father came up, which is strange because, you know, he never really came up in conversation. Not that they were purposely avoiding him, or they said anything at all negative. It was more just like, it never seemed appropriate. But for whatever reason, you know, stories started to come to mind, and they started talking about my father, and, you know, it was all good things. It was all loving, caring things. Like, they missed him. What was sad about that is he left because he felt like he had to. He felt like the family hated him. And I don't really want to get into all of the specifics, but he borrowed a sum of money from certain members of the family, and he wasn't able to pay it back, and the business he'd invested in failed, and his life sort of just went off the rails in a negative way, and he felt like he had to run away because he felt like he had cheated his family and couldn't make good on the debt he owed. But in that moment, sitting around that campfire, hearing, you know, all of these good things about him from them, I felt like he didn't need to leave, you know, like it wasn't really necessary. And that was sad because I felt like our family had been torn apart over a misunderstanding because no one was willing to say how much they really cared, or he wasn't willing to ask them, you know, how they would feel about him leaving, or, you know, things just happened to play out that way when it didn't have to. That made me realize that, you know, time in a way is almost like frighteningly linear. Any mistake, any little moment can just change the entire course of your life. And it's like, that's all we get, you know? A life is a linear thing and you can only experience it once. Maybe when you were a kid, you hung out with a certain friend group, and because of that, your life went a certain direction, and you can never go back and change that. You can never go back and, say hi to a different person in 6th grade math. There's all these turning points in life, almost like all these converging timelines that we choose to be a part of or to avoid, and they lead us to where we are right now. And in that moment, turning 18, reflecting on my life, all the mistakes I'd made, everything I felt that had gone wrong, things with my dad, that I wish he could be there, that I wish he could have had a different relationship with his family, or that he didn't have to leave. All of those things started to come to the forefront of my mind. Because growing up and becoming an adult made me realize just how different my life was going to be from then on. And just how, different things could have been. How much different my life up until that point could have been. It was like the second all of my friends turned 18, they were in a rush to move out and get jobs and move away from everyone they knew and everything they'd ever done and just become a fresh, new person. But in a way that kind of frustrated and frightened me a little bit, because it was like I had to be a new person. I had to let go of all of those things in the past because there was no changing it. And there is no changing it. But I think letting go and just forgetting about it is sort of a disrespect to those true, real feelings that matter. I don't know. I mean, time just is what it is. It's not willing to stop for anyone. It's not willing to change its course. All we can do is adapt and, go with the flow and just hope and expect that what we try to do in the face of time will make a difference in our own lives, and that, we can just hope for a better future and look back on our past memories fondly. Even though I'm not a kid anymore and those times at the cabin with my cousins and my family are gone forever, doesn't mean that my future ahead can't be even better. I mean, it's sad that you can only be a kid once. You can only see the world through those rose-tinted glasses, that certain frame of mind during one specific small period of your life. But that doesn't mean that the rest of your life can't be just as good. It might be different, but it's not bad. It's just a matter of perspective, and it's a matter of conscious effort. And with that, as we found a beautiful spot to start some sort of build or construction, I'm going to leave the video off. This video is heavily inspired by a YouTuber named Niko. I'll leave him in the description of the video. He basically does similar videos to this, where he just, plays Minecraft and talks about stuff. Might do more of these, we'll see. But yeah, thanks for watching all the way to the end. I hope this could help you guys out in some way.